Ladies and gentle gamers, welcome back to To Be Determined. Today we're finally doing part 2 of our Bestiary guide series. Today we're going to be focusing on the mining islands, so the deep caverns, the Dwarven mines, and the crystal hollows. So if you guys end up learning something or you enjoy it, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already. We're on our way to 9,000 subs. Without further ado, let's jump into it. Alright, so setup wise for the deep caverns, if you're trying to max this out, of course, I always say Spirit Scepter is going to be one of your best bets. It's a pretty low price weapon, and even without good mage gear, like let's say Wise Dragon or something like that, even Crystal, you can do pretty well for yourself. And I highly recommend getting the side of Reforge if you're struggling with intelligence. It's super cheap on Bazaar, just look up Ender Monocles right here. Super cheap, super worth it. You can get, again, with a decent magical power, close to, if not 1,000 intelligence just from using this Reforge. That's not even with tuning points added onto it, so it's very, very useful. But that's for most mobs. For the first mob, the sneaky creepers, there are actually some pretty specific setups that you'll want to use. Now, there are multiple options, of course, but I highly recommend running Aurora armor, and you'll see why in a moment. At least 3/4 Aurora armor. And then you'll want a witch mask. This is for the best setup. There are other setups, but this one's pretty inexpensive and very worth it. So we pop that on real quick, warp over to the deep caverns. If we look around, you can see there's particles here. That is because of the ability on the Aurora chest plate. So if we get close to this over here, you'll see one of the bats will go over and kill it. So with this, you can kind of see where you need to go to. You don't have to use the witch mask. If you've got the Aurora gear, you can just see where the mobs are at. See, they can sometimes have the fire particles, just like this one. Sometimes purple particles, sometimes the crit damage particles. Those are going to be the hardest ones to see, is the crit damage ones. But generally, your routing is going to be this area, and then you'll run through this tunnel here, and then keep going all the way back, maybe even over to this section, and then carry on down here and kind of just reset the route, go back to the start, and just keep running this loop over and over again until you get all of your sneaky creeper kills. But again, Aurora armor is the armor that gives you the ability to see where they are. Witch mask is a very good option to be able to kill them when you can't even see them. So if you don't have the money or the requirements for the Aurora armor, Witch mask is a good option. Now the next section down is the Lapis zombies section. This one's pretty straightforward. Again, you'll want to be running a mage setup and just kind of run around blowing them up. There's not really a super specific route because generally there will be a decent amount of nons down here killing everything. So I feel kind of bad stealing all their kills when I was maxing this bestiary. But if I could give you a route, it'd probably be start here at the Lapis miner and then run around this back section here. There's a couple spawns. Then kill the ones over in this area. Take this loop down back over here. Kill this one, and then you're back over at the Lapis miner. Just kind of run that route over and over again. Now, Pigmen are pretty much the same. It's pretty much going to be the same for the rest of these mobs. There's going to be kind of a general route that you'll want to take and just keep running a loop over and over again that has a decent amount of spawns in it. So redstone Pigmen are less difficult than the zombie miners, honestly, or the Lapis miners, because there's not as many nons down here killing these because they don't drop an armor set. They only drop these flaming swords, which still pretty useless, but at least they go in museum. Anyways, I would say start maybe right here, get this kill here, kill these ones down here, and then just run around this loop, killing these, run around the loop here, go down in this section because there's generally going to be a few down here, teleport back up, take down these ones here. There will be some on this bridge, and then you're back at the start and just run that loop over and over and over again. Now the kills on these ones aren't super horrible as far as deep caverns goes. You don't need a ridiculous amount of kills. 3,000 is a lot, but at least sneaky creepers is only 300. That one doesn't take long, but all of the other mobs, it's going to be 3,000 to max it out. So again, a route is very, very important. Next section is going to be the emerald slimes. Now these ones don't take long at all. They've got super big hitboxes, so it's kind of hard to miss them. And there are plenty of routes you can take here because there are a ton of spawns that you can do. There's some in this lily pond here, some back here. There's actually kind of crazy how many spawns you can get. So we've got somebody in this lobby grinding them, but really you're going to want to start here at the lift operator. There's a bunch of spawns here. Go back on this section and you can kind of see the route this guy's taking. Kill these ones here. Go over here. Again, if you do have a hype, that is definitely going to be better. But kind of just going along the outer loop until you get to this section. Kill these ones here. Honestly, I'd say go back right here, and then you're back at the start. But again, if you can get a private lobby for this one, like a lobby it doesn't have to be just you in the lobby, but a lobby where it's just you on this section of the deep caverns, then that's going to be better for you because you can let the spawns kind of stack up. But slimes, the routing is pretty easy. You can kind of do anything and you'll be all right. Now, the last section actually is 2 sections. There's Diamond Reserve here, which has a decent amount of spawns, but there's also the Obsidian Sanctuary down here, which is the one that I ran, but this is also the one that's going to be a little bit more contested. So if you can't seem to find a lobby with like not many players in this area, then you can always run back to Diamond Reserve and try a route over here. For Diamond Reserve, there are a lot less spawns, so I really do recommend just trying to get a good route in the Obsidian Sanctuary if you can. And if you can't find one on whatever day you're doing it, then I would honestly just wait. These ones can be done at any time. There's not really a specific time that's better for them. So if you can't do it right now with a good lobby, then just wait until you can find one. But there are a ton of zombie spawns the first thing that you'll notice. There's a ton of zombie spawns, so the main thing you're going to want to focus on is getting these minor skeleton spawns, because these guys are a lot rarer to find in here. They've just got less spawn sections than the zombies do, so kind of just running around focusing on those guys, you'll get the zombies as you go. My routing for skeletons is starting here at Rise, and then you'll just run through this section back over here. There's a skeleton spawn here, one here, and then another one here. Then we run into this little pool section with the lava pool here. There's a couple spawns there. And then run back along this back section. And there's a spawn right here. And then you're back at the start. Now for zombies, if you somehow manage to max skeletons first, then there are a ton of zombie spawns back here. In this back section, it's almost exclusively zombies. So you can kind of just run back and forth along this back section. Starting over in this area, then you'll come back through here. Kill these ones, then come back through this section, go back to the farthest area, and then you're back at the lava pool here. So that is everything in the deep caverns. Again, in this zombies and skeleton section, mainly focus on the skeletons. There's a lot less of those spawns. But now it's time to move on to the Dwarven Mines. Now the Dwarven Mines is a lot less straightforward than the deep caverns was. All of these had specific routes you needed. For these ones, there's a few with specific routes, but a lot of it is waiting. Star sentries, you have to wait until the stars fall, and then you can focus on those guys. What really helps with these is using a pickaxe with the Stellar Reforge on it, because the Stellar bonus deals an extra damage to star sentries and increases the chance for starfalls to drop, so you'll be making more money, you'll be killing them twice as fast. And the main thing with those guys as well is to get to 100% attack speed, because then you can just juggle them, kill them within seconds, and then move on to the next one. The other one that requires time is the Powder Ghast. These guys you should be able to get as you're grinding out the kills on all of these other ones. Just whenever one pops up, make sure to go and get some damage on it, and then you can go back to grinding whatever you were on. But they pop up every 5 to 10 minutes, it seems like, so 200 of these will take a while. But if you're going for max bestiaries, then it's worth it. Now, the other two that are going to require you to wait, you don't actually have to wait, but I highly recommend it, for golden goblins and for diamond goblins. For these guys, you're going to want to wait until you get to a decent heart of the mountain level and you unlock the Sky Maul perk. With Sky Maul, every day you get a different perk, and that will change between 6. You'll want to wait until you get this 10x chance to find golden and diamond goblins. And then there's 2 things you can do. You can either use goblin eggs from Bazaar right here. The pricier ones have higher drop rates. Definitely don't use blue goblin eggs. Not worth it. But running green or blue or green or regular goblin eggs is kind of the strategy that I ran, but it's really up to you. If you want to spend the money on it, then this is an option. But the other option is to just take whatever your tool is, gemstone gauntlet or drill, whichever, and then once you get that perk, you can mine back here in this section is what I focused on. But if you want to get some gold for your gold collection along the way as well, this section back here, the location is 104 159 89. It's right here underneath the Royal Mines Bridge, so just down here to the right. And then the mithril section I was using was this one right back here, just because both of these sections, if you spawn a diamond goblin or a golden goblin, then they don't really have anywhere to run. Just make sure you keep mining towards this way and don't turn and look this way, because then if one spawns here, then they can start running across the bridge and they're a pain to catch. And what do you know, there's a powder ghast. Now again, these guys have 50 health, so they're not too much of a pain to get through. Main thing is just have a short bow to use on these guys. I am using a Terminator, but you can see it still only does 1 damage per hit. Not all 3 arrows count. There is a cooldown between how much hits you can get in, but that's how you do that bestiary. Now the rest of these kind of do have routes, except for Goblin Raiders. Goblin Raiders, you will have to wait for one of these events to happen as well, just because these will not spawn until a Goblin Raid event happens. For those, main thing is to deal damage even whenever there's the super protectors, the iron golems, protecting them. Make sure you've dealt a little bit of damage to him so you get that bestiary before the iron golem is killed, and then all of those are killed. Again, Spirit Scepter is best for that, and Spirit Scepter will be pretty good for the rest of these as well, unless of course you have a hype. So we'll go to Ice Walkers next. Ice Walkers spawn on this back section here, and these are going to be the ones that are extremely contested. However, if you are higher level, then it's not going to be too difficult for you, because a lot of the ones fighting here are going to be less than level 40. So won't have too much to worry about, but kind of just run around with Scepter or with Hype, and you kind of just take this route here. You can go up this loop, and there's a couple spawns back here, and then you drop back down, kill these here, and then return up. Now for regular Goblin Bestiary, you'll need 25,000 kills, which does take quite a bit of time. One strategy that I used that helped out a lot was actually using a Fire Fury staff. So if you take the Fire Fury staff, you can shoot it in this section here, because there are 2 big areas that these goblins will spawn. One of them is right here by this campfire section, and the other one is down below down here. So there's a bunch of spawns down here that you can take care of. Kind of just warp between the 2. So you kill the ones down here, warp back up, kill the ones up here, and then you can leave a Fire Fury staff, come back down here, kill these, and wait until they respawn again, and then kill them again, and then warp back up and kill these. Your Fire Fury staff will have a 20-second cooldown, so you will have to wait a little bit on that, but 10 of those seconds it is doing damage, so you'll at least be getting a couple extra kills in the meantime. But those are the 2 main spawns. You'll kind of just warp between the ones here, and then go back up, kill the ones up here, and reset. If you don't have max mithril powder, what can help with this is having the Goblin Killer perk, so you'll get some extra mithril powder as you're killing these. 25,000 kills is a lot. You'll get a decent amount of powder from doing that. So if you haven't maxed out your powders, this is a good option. And I forgot to mention this earlier, but Luck of the Cave is also important for spawning all those mobs it says there. The golden and diamond goblins, Fallen Stars, and Powder Gas. You'll want to make sure you have this perk maxed. But that, Sky Maul, and Goblin Killer are kind of the main 3 that you'll need. Alright, so for ghost grinding now, the best gear to use is going to be a full Crimson armor set. Now, to be able to one-shot these, that's going to be the main goal. You'll want to be able to one-shot these before you start really grinding them. But a lot of people will get to at least a giant sword. I've got decent gear so I can do it with just Reaper Scythe, but you're definitely going to want to have a Mithril Golem pet, and make sure that your magical power is set to something that's going to help you do 1 tick damage. So you're not going to want it on itchy or something like that. You want it on forceful or hurtful or shaded, maybe bloody if you've got pretty even on your stats. So that's what I'm running because I've got pretty even on my stats, but we're going to see how we do here. So your first 10 kills, you're not going to do much. You got to make sure you get your Dominus swipes up. That's the main thing that's going to be dealing damage and helping you one-shot these. Again, I am using a Reaper Scythe. A lot of people do wait until at least Giant Sword or even Claymore, and realistically, that's going to be better for you for your later bestiaries. You can get a decent amount of kills on these to start with, but you can see now that my Dominus stacks are at 10, I one-shot these guys. I'm in base Crimson with Ancient on it. That's all I'm in right now. And I'm one-shotting these guys. The only reason I'm not one-shotting this one is because that one was runic. But you can run around one-shotting everything now with just 10 stacks of Crimson. And again, this is going to depend a lot on your combat skill and your magical power. That is what is helping me out a lot with this as well, is not just using base Crimson, but the level 100 Mithril Golem, the 1200 magical power that helps out a lot, and of course all the enchants and stuff on the Reaper Scythe. But again, this is base Crimson. Now if I do it in the burning Crimson, then of course it's going to be a little bit better on the damage, but either way, it one-shots. That's what matters. When you're doing this later on, you're going to worry a lot more about magic find because this is a really good money method. You do need 250,000 kills to max the bestiary as well, which takes a hot minute. But again, just to do your basic kills, this is kind of the gear that you're going to need. Now, if you're doing this for all 250,000 kills, I highly recommend doing this to level up some combat pets, especially Golden Dragon is going to be a big one. I know this is like the main strategy that people will use for leveling G-Drag and such, but you can see I just dropped Sorrow and Volta there. So, and that's with only 176 magic finds, so you can make pretty good money with this. Especially if you get good magic find Crimson gear, you can crank up your magic find to ridiculous levels, especially once you've got a decent amount of ghost kills as well, because I've only got 25 magic find for ghosts. As your bestiary gets higher, you're gonna get even more magic find, and that's what makes this make so much money. Now that leaves only one thing to talk about, which is treasure hoarders. These ones are very much a pain, I'm not gonna lie. Ghost grinding takes a very long time, but these ones, you're kind of just sitting around waiting for them to spawn a lot because there are not a ton of treasure hoarder spawns at the moment. They spawn back over here in the upper mine / ramparts quarry section. And the biggest thing you're going to run into is people killing them because these do make a decent amount of money early game. So the lower levels are going to be here yoinking all the kills, but there's only like 7 different spawns. So there's one on the bridge, one back here, and one over here. And there's a little cave back in this section that you can kill in, one right here, one there, and one over here. So not really a ton of spawns that you can run between. A lot of the time you are going to be just waiting for them to spawn, and every spawn cycle you get 6 kills at the most, and then you gotta wait again. Those are the only ways to kill treasure hoarders, and that is everything in the Dwarven mine. So we've got one section left, that is the Crystal Hollows. So let's go ahead and get over there. Now what will help a lot with this is of course having your warp to the Crystal Nucleus, so you can run to whichever section you like, but that's just kind of a QOL thing. Now there are a decent amount of bestiaries in the Crystal Hollows. There are 5 of these bestiaries that you can use for doing your commission. So some commissions, if you go over here and talk to Emissary Cisco, you can see will require you to slay a certain mob. So right now it's automatons, but it can be yogs, sludges, fists, grunts, and goblins as well. So when you're killing these, if you haven't done your commissions yet, I would wait and do those as you're going. Now there are specific sections that you can kill these in. The main things you're going to be looking for is specific room spawns. There is a really good room spawn for sludges that looks very similar to this one, but it's not this one. But for fists, you are going to have to mine a bit of amethyst gemstones. That's the only way to get them to spawn. So if you find or make a decent route for amethyst, then getting those kills is going to be easy. You just kind of have your gemstone gauntlet or drill in one hand, and in the other section you'll have a spirit scepter or some other magic weapon to be able to kill them really quickly. So you'll at least be making a bit of money when you're doing that. But there are plenty of amethyst routes that you can find in other people's YouTube videos. I just recommend picking out one of those. Or an alternative option would be finding the jungle temple, which you can find with a wishing compass. If it doesn't seem to locate anything, then there's not one in this lobby, and you should warp to a new one. Now this structure that we're in right here, you can use for getting your jungle keys if you wanted to, but I recommend doing that with the key guardians because that is one of the bestiaries that you are going to need. The key guardian bestiary, you need 250 kills. For this, the wishing compass can also lead you to those guys, but sometimes it will lead you to that village if you don't have a key on you. So make sure when you're looking for those to not have a jungle key in your inventory, otherwise the wishing compass will take you to the jungle temple. But you can see this is a good spot to do your Thist kills because there is a ton of amethyst just exposed here. But it used to be you couldn't use abilities in this section, but now you can teleport anywhere and everywhere. It's pretty busted compared to the things that I had to do when I was doing my nucleus runs back in the day. But there's a decent amount of sludge spawns in here as well. If you just kind of warp through the water, you can see there's some spawns right up here, and sludge is pretty easy to do. You need 10,000 kills, but if you find one sludge that's the biggest variant, that's like 7 kills, because the big one will split into 2 smaller ones, and then those will split into 2 smaller ones, and then it's just a ton of kills. But this is a good section to get your Thist kills maxed and your sludge kills maxed as well. And it's kind of going to be the same for a lot of these automatons. You're also going to want to find the Precursor ruined city. it will have a ton of spawns that you can route through. Bal has a ton of Yogg spawns. Now, butterflies can be a bit of a pain. You have to find a fairy grotto, which there's only one in every single lobby. So honestly, if you haven't done your powder grinding yet, I would recommend waiting until you do that, because I found quite a few of those while I was doing my powder grinding. But here we are in a Precursor city. There's a ton of spawns that you can find. Now, the route I take generally starts right here at Professor Robot. You'll run down. There's a couple spawns right here that you can get. Drop down. There's a few spawns in this section. And in some of the rooms here, you can sometimes find spawns. And then you can drop down low to this area, kill the ones in here. There's a few spawns right here, right here. Watch out for the traps here. What a lot of people will do is take some hardstone blocks and just block off this whole section, because yeah, these traps can be a bit of a pain. So this way you don't have to worry about it. Does make the path a little more narrow, but you're not going to die while you're going through it. Then there's some kills here. And you can also actually mine the blocks underneath the strings here as well to get rid of some of these traps. That's the worst part about running through here, is sometimes if you're not paying attention, you can die to traps. But anyways, you'll go back up to this section. There's a bunch of spawns throughout this little tunnel section here. You can get a few kills here, and then you can warp back up here and go back through the route again. And you can see you do get drops on occasion. Control switches are decent, but really the main ones that actually make money are going to be the synthetic hearts and the Robotron reflectors. They're both used to make certain drill parts, so those are the ones that are worth the most. But if you're wanting to do your crystal nucleus runs, then you'll want to keep those for that. So the goblins in this area don't actually count towards your bestiary. That is good to know. I honestly didn't know that. So killing goblins in here isn't going to do anything for you unless it's for commissions. But we still got to talk about grunts and yoggs for those sections. So grunts, there are a few different areas that you can find. Honestly, pretty much any room that you can find is going to have some grunts in it. And what do you know? We've got a dragon's lair. Even this room will have a decent amount of grunts in it. Honestly, even just doing your powder grinding here and making some space, grunts will spawn pretty frequently. And any of these executives or other NPC names, they all count as grunt kills. Even Boss Corleone counts as a grunt kill. So those ones are pretty simple. Now for yoggs, you're going to want to find Bal and Khazad-dûm, so you can be grinding out both of those bestiaries at the same time. Because with Bal, once you find him, you do have to wait for him to respawn a lot of times. There are ways to bypass it, but they can be a bit of a pain. And you need the Yogg bestiary anyway, so you can grind that in the meantime. Normally, you'd be able to find this pretty easily using a wishing compass. Unfortunately, I already have the topaz crystal claimed and placed right here, so if you already have the crystal, it will not point you to wherever you're supposed to go. But one way that you can multitask your bestiaries is while you're looking for locations like I am, you can just mine in a straight line just like this. What helps is disabling the mole perk here. Just mine in a straight line, and this is because we are looking for Skaitha and worm spawns. And if you're wanting to drop Skaitha pets, then I recommend doing it with your superior dragon armor if you have some. And if you want to get the most pet luck, then you'll want to use a black cat and hold a day axe whenever you are killing the mob. To be even sweatier, you can put a scorched power crystal in your beacon and power that up with pet luck. That will give you the most possible pet luck that you can get, as well as eating the cakes and maybe even putting a minus relic on the black cat if you're ultra sweaty. But again, you don't have to do that if you're just going for the bestiary. Now, there's a lot you can do with Bal. There's a strategy where you use Soul's Rebounds and then you just spam him with arrows, and that will kill him. But after you kill him, you kind of just run around, kill the yoggs, keep grinding from there. And if everyone leaves the chunk and goes far enough away, it will reset his cooldown. So you can kind of just run really far away and then come back, and his cooldown will have reset if he's been deloaded for long enough. But if you've got people in the lobby that are just literally sitting on the crystal, then his spawn timer will not reset. So it's good to have something else close by to grind in the meantime, like yoggs. And you kind of just run around the outside just like this to get those kills. There are a ton of them that will spawn here. And if Khazad-dûm is high enough, then you can see other mobs will spawn as well. So we're getting our automaton kills as well as we're going. So that's really nice, but that doesn't always happen. Now, it's especially helpful if you can find a key guardian and have Bal in the jungle section, That's kind of the best that you can possibly hope for. So you can just walk between those as their respawn timers are counting down. You kill one, and then you go kill the other one, and then go back, kill the first one again, you know, over and over again. That would be very ideal, but that is also pretty rare. But I think that's everything. Again, butterflies you have to find in fairy grottos, and fairy grottos can spawn literally anywhere in any lobby. So you kind of just gotta wait until you find one, or you can buy coordinates in certain discords if you want to get really sweaty with it. But yeah, that is all of the mining bestiaries. So if you guys enjoyed, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already. Again, we are on our way to 9,000 subs, so if you can help us out with that, I'd really appreciate it. And look who wants to be in the YouTube video. Nice. But if you enjoyed the music, make sure to check that out. There's links in the description as well. I wrote it myself, and it really does help out. Also, we just updated our channel membership, so if you guys want to get videos a day early, then you can check out that. But thanks so much for watching to the end. I hope y'all had an amazing time, and I will see you in the next one. Have a great day, and God bless.